StarNews.com did a little bit of an expose on one of CNN's latest pieces from, I think, a couple of days ago about how you should not do your own research and what kind of dangers there are to do your own research on a number of different topics. And I want to jump into that because it's really a really great way to set the table for what was going on in Arizona and how it is going to invariably and inevitably and predictably be perceived and talked about in certain circles. So here we go. 4 little words, do your own research, are hurting the U.S. pandemic response. Now, they're talking just about the pandemic in this way, but just remember where this has also reared its ugly head. Remember Chris Cuomo coming out and saying that if you spend any time reading any of these leaked emails about with the DNC leak that had to do with Podesta and Hillary Clinton and the entire DNC's pretty much being run like a gangster operation. If you're reading any of these things, if you read any of these leaks or WikiLeaks, wherever you're getting them, you might be committing a crime. And that the only way that you should get any kind of an understanding of what are in these documents when they do come out and when they are worthy of even discussion is through us. We are the professionals. Me, Chris Cuomo, a journalist, is somehow, it's not illegal for me to read leaked things to the public, even though he's just a civilian. He's not Superman. He's not a special guy at all. He's a meathead party boy. That's all he is. He's a meathead party boy with a 1,000-yard stare, and he's got sexual assault problems on his hands, or harassment problems on his hands now, which whatever. I haven't even looked into it. Don't care. Really don't care. But this is just, it goes beyond the pandemic is the reason why I bring it up. Do your own research is something they don't want you doing because they just don't want you thinking. They don't want you to have to make their job any harder. They like talking to celebrities. They like when they go to their billion-dollar studio and they put they put their rouge on and their high heels, and they like talking to complete soupy-brained idiots. It makes their job a lot easier because, of course, very common and easily asked and arrived upon questions can take apart anything that they're trying to sell you. So they don't want any questions. They don't want that. They continue. Do your own research. Those 4 little words are hurting the U.S. pandemic response. CNN's chief media correspondent, Brian Stelter, said on reliable sources, everything is word magic. And it's having a real consequence as personalities from Nicki Minaj to Sean Hannity continue to promote the idea. Minaj helped raise doubts about COVID-19 vaccines on Twitter last week, claiming she would only get the shots once she had done enough research. It may seem like a reasonable, even positive attitude, and it is favored talking echoed, and it's a favored talking point echoed by many on right-wing media. The problem is that most people simply don't know how to do their own research. CNN does. They send correspondents to pick through trash in Russia because they're following a fucking bullshit narrative about Donald Trump and Vladimir Putin hooking up. Okay? They sent news correspondents. It might have been MSNBC or CNN. They're interchangeable. They sent news correspondents out to Thailand to interview a Russian hooker in jail who knew that the American media was so crazy that if she said that she had any kind of information on Donald Trump, she might be able to get somebody to post bail for her. They don't know how to do research. Especially when it comes to understanding the complexities of medical science. Oh, yes. I know. There's only one Sanjay Gupta. There's only one Sanjay Gupta, everybody. So, the concept has lately become associated with COVID-19 and QAnon, but the phrase do your own research dates back to the 1890s when it was associated with skepticism surrounding the smallpox vaccine. Nobody is going to the library and looking up authoritative sources to do their own research. Jarl Estentat, a Future of Democracy fellow at Bergerum Institute, said. Jarl Eisenstadt. Oh, Eisenstadt. Every time. So, you have that. And there's the bigger problem. People who are independent enough to realize that experts and authorities are never consistent. This is where we're going with this, okay? If you are intelligent and you're independent enough to realize or come to the realization that experts and whatever they consider to be authoritative sources are not consistent with us and seemingly intentionally inconsistent. And when their positions shift, it's only to shift in a direction that reinforces the dominant position of their clan. That's all. If something changes that they cannot ignore anymore, they need to shift and find an angle that they can still control things, i.e. creating Me Too when Hollywood was being exposed as a rape den. Okay? Little things like that. So you can't trust the information, and you can't trust the motive that they're sharing the information, why they're sharing the information. You can't trust anything because they're always shifting, and because they always they never take a loss. And because they never take a loss, how could you ever trust the motive? It's ridiculous. There's nothing indiscriminate about it. There's nothing unbiased about it. You can only come to that realization if you are intelligent enough, though, and awake. Sometimes intelligence can be snuffed out by all this somehow. It's negated. Therefore, wherever your personal research leads you, you already have a leg up on Rachel Maddow, the Rachel Maddows of the world. You know for sure that you care about yourself. Okay, the experts that we are bombarded with every day do not give a fuck about us. So you already have a leg up by knowing you care enough about yourself to ask these questions. Meanwhile, these people who only care about their own hegemony and their own dominance over whatever industry that they are in, they don't give a shit about anything. They don't. In fact, they're running around the way they're running out of ways to show that they don't care. Now, exhibit number one is Rachel Maddow. God, I hate this guy. And she needed to come back around to Arizona Audit to try to pregame with people on her show, and she really hammed it up. You got to listen to her, what she was saying. I think this was just last night. So here you go.
Because the so-called audit of the presidential election results from Arizona, organized by Republicans in the Arizona legislature, the results of the Arizona Cyber Ninjas audit are going to be released on Friday. The audit organizers have just announced the roster for their rollout of their audit results on Friday.
Their rollout. Just listen to the inflection in the voice, the darting eyes, the shooting eyebrows all over the place, as if she always is constantly hearing the worst joke she's ever heard in her life. All right, which is in a way, and she's doing this just to deliver otherwise pretty innocuous and I don't know, neutral information. But this could only ever be received in one way for her audience.
Afternoon, including remarks to be made by the Cyber Ninjas guy, right? This Florida man who somehow got plucked by Arizona Republicans out of obscurity from among the ranks of random QAnon promoters online.
He's random. He's obscure. He was plucked. And of course, he heads up a company that's called Cyber Ninjas. Isn't that silly sounding? Says the person who believes that boys can be girls if they just simply say that they are. Isn't Cyber Ninjas a silly name? Yuck, 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 yuck.
And he got plucked out of obscurity by them to be put in charge of doing whatever it is they just did to millions of actual ballots that were cast in the 2020 election in Arizona and all the voting machines and equipment used to cast and tally the vote there. He's going to be there explaining his findings, as will randomly one of the other speakers announcing the audit results is a guy who claims he invented email. Okay.
She's talking about Dr. Shiva. Now, I'm going to read you a little something. Dr. Shiva, of course, part of his presentation today. The man's obviously brilliant. He's brilliant. And he put all of his author's expertise and bio up. Okay? So she had her little Krusty the Clown laugh to herself, the yuck, yuck, yuck on her own. She's just a goofy twat. Listen to this. Author's expertise in bio, 4 MIT degrees, PhD, SMME, SMVS, and SBEE, 40-plus years of experience in pattern recognition and classification of diverse signals and signatures across industries and applications. Industries that he's worked in: biology and medicine, engineering, aeronautics, civil, electrical, banking and finance, and military. Applications: handwriting recognition on bank checks, electronic documentation, example, email analysis and categorization, ultrasonic and radar wave signature classification for non-destructive evaluation, that's NDE, speech analysis for tandoma signature identification, biomarker patterns analysis for efficacy of combination therapy, sleep pattern signature categorization for identification of sudden infant death syndrome patients, signal detection of fluid flow anomalies in fluidized bed reactors. Winner of the White House competition for automatic classification of email, 7 successful high-tech companies, EcoMail, which does the pattern recognition for classification of documents from 1994 to present, Cytosolve, computational modeling, 2007 to present, patents, he has patents, books, scientific publications in peer-reviewed high-impact journals, IEEE, the IJPRAL, Nature, Cell, etc. Inventor of email, Fulbright Scholar, MIT finalist, Westinghouse Science Honors recipient, nominee for National Medal of Technology and Innovation, and invited distinguished lectures at NSF, NIH, FDA, Harvard, MIT Presidential Fellows Lecture, and of course he's been on, quite frankly, 3 times. He actually listed that there. He said he's been on, quite frankly, 3 times. So why did I read all that to you? Well, I'll put it to you this way. Dr. Shiva has more intelligence in his fucking pubic hair than this smarmy wench does. So she can yuck all she wants. All she wants. More intelligence in his pubic hair.